What's up, everybody? Matthew here. Thanks for checking into the channel. Hey, listen, today we're going to talk about what would happen in your life if you read 10 pages a day. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you were to do that consistently over the long haul, you'd be incredibly surprised at how much you would learn, how it would shape your life, how it would inform your mind over the long haul. Now, listen, to some extent, of course, our lives are subject to the sovereignty of God. He's in control of all things, but there's another sense in which our daily habits and our priorities forge us to be the kind of people that we want to be. And if you're the kind of person that really wants to be well-read, well, you can certainly go out and do that. And that's something that I've been trying to do in my own life, especially lately. I'm just like you, to be completely honest. I have different priorities. My days are crushed with all sorts of scheduling obligations as a pastor and so forth. I have all kinds of responsibilities, not only here at work, but in my personal life and my family life. So reading is the kind of thing that I have to sometimes force myself to do. And what I've been trying to do lately is to force myself to read just 10 pages a day and to set myself some basic parameters that, look, I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to make it a priority. I'm going to make this happen every single day. But I don't have to read a ton. So the goal is stick-to-itiveness and perseverance rather than sitting down and trying to read for like 4 hours, which is probably not going to happen given my own scheduling priorities and such. So what I want to do today is I just want to tease out the idea for you. If you were to commit to reading 10 pages a day, what might that look like in your life? Well, if you're new to this channel, what's up? My name is Matthew. I'm one of the pastors here at Gospel Fellowship PCA. We're a Reformed Bible-believing church just north of Pittsburgh. If you're looking for a church like that, come check us out. Also an adjunct professor at RPTS, the Reformed Presbyterian Theological Seminary in Pittsburgh. Love to have you as a student sometime. Okay, so toy with me on this idea here for just a moment. Let's think about what would happen if you read 10 pages a day. Well, what would you read? Well, let's start with some of the best stuff ever written, right? So what about John Calvin's Institutes? Okay, now I think this is one of the most important books ever written. Do you know that you could read John Calvin's Institutes? If you read 10 pages a day, you could read this magnum opus, one of the most significant works of all time, in just 100 days because it's about 1,000 pages. Now, I'll be the first one to confess that those 10 pages are going to be hard. You're going to have to push yourself a little bit. You're going to have to grind a little bit. You're going to have to challenge yourself a little bit. When I sat down to read the Institutes, it took me a year, and I read about 3 pages a day. But if you pushed yourself to read 10, then you could read this incredible book in just 100 days. Imagine what it would be like if you had absorbed all of Calvin's Institutes into your mind over the course of just about 3 months. That would be absolutely incredible. So why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? Well, okay, let me give you another option here. So what if you decided to do something like what I've done with my life? I've wanted to become one of the best Edwards scholars in the world. Whether or not I'll ever make that, who knows? But if you want to be the best, if you want to be a scholar, if you want to be somebody who takes a particular field of academia seriously, you got to pour into the works, right? Well, look at this. The works of Jonathan Edwards, right? There's like 26 volumes of them in print in the Yale editions. If you read 10 pages a day, most of the editions are about 550 pages, right? So you could read one volume in 55 days, just over a month, and you would have read a volume of some of Edwards' most important works. Now, if you wanted to really press through for 1 year, you'd read 7 volumes of Jonathan Edwards' works. I mean, that's absolutely astounding. Imagine what your mind would be like, the knowledge that you would have acquired, the maturity you would have developed in the Christian faith if you would force yourself to read 10 pages of Edwards every single day. All right, well, how about this? Okay, you say, all right, well, I don't want any old dead guys. That's not my thing. Okay, all right, I'm tracking with you. What if you read Beeke and Smalley's Systematic Theology 10 pages a day? It would take you 100 days to read one volume because they're about 1,000 pages each. I got them right here over my shoulder. Incredible works. Incredible, important, significant, very readable, eminently enjoyable works on Christian systematic theology. And if you really were ambitious and you wanted to read all 4, 1,000 pages each, it'd take you just over a year, maybe a year and a month. Or if you pressed it to 12 to 15 pages a day, you could have it done in a year. I mean, imagine the knowledge. It's absolutely incredible. If you can develop the habit of consistent reading, it will just completely transform your mental, spiritual, psychological, and your life and so forth, your maturity and sanctification. It's unbelievable. How about this? Philip Schaff's Church History, okay? 10 pages a day. it would take you about 85 days to read one volume because they're about 850 pages per volume. I think there's like 9 of them, 8 or 9 or 10 something. I'm close to that. I'm not sure exactly, but I'm close to that. I've got them right there. 1 year, 4 volumes at least. 2 years, the whole set. In 2 years, you would have mastered the whole scope of church history. I mean, it's just astounding what you could do with 10 pages a day. It's absolutely incredible. If you don't like that, how about B.B. Warfield? 10 pages a day. In 50 days, you will have read one of the volumes of B.B. Warfield's life works. Incredible stuff. Amazing Reformed theology there. In a year, in 4 months, you could have read the whole 10-volume set. It's just absolutely extraordinary. But let's be honest. Let's be honest here in this video. It's just me and you talking. You're probably not going to do it, okay? And like, I don't want to discourage you, but I'm actually using some reverse psychology on you here a little bit. I'm going to tell you why you're not going to do it, and then maybe you're going to push back and say, well, yes, I am, Everhard. Yes, I am going to do it. Okay, let me tell you why you're not. Then you tell me why you are. First, priorities. In our lives, what we do is usually in concert with the priorities that we set. If you want to read well and read deeply, then make it a priority in your life. Quit letting it be pushed out by all of the other priorities, which may or may not be anywhere near as important as the information you could acquire through some serious reading projects. Okay, so I'm just going to challenge you there. Is it actually a priority? Because if it's not, there's no way you're going to do it. You're not. You're not going to do it. You're not going to follow through. And secondly, here's another reason, because you are so doggone addicted to that stupid cell phone that's in your hand right now. Maybe you're watching me on the phone, thankful for that, but it's also the worst distraction in your life. And it's true for me too. There's so many times where we could be sitting down to read for 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, but what do? We waste that time scrolling. And I don't need to give you a lecture on this because we probably already feel bad enough about the time that we waste. Our lives are so short. Our mortal existence on this planet is so brief that it's terrible what we do with our wasted time and scrolling and so forth. But maybe you could convert some of that time, 10, 20, 30 minutes a day, into reading. If you could do that, that'd be incredible. But I think there's another problem, and that is that most people lack stick-to-itiveness. They'll say they're going to do something and they'll start it off strong, but then they'll flag and they'll fail and they'll fall off. One of the things that God has given me that I'm thankful for is stick-to-itiveness. I think it's my superpower. I'm not incredibly intelligent. I'm not incredibly beautiful to look at. I'm not incredibly athletic or strong or any of those things. One of the gifts that the Lord has given me is stick-to-itiveness. If I decide to do something, I do have, by His grace, the ability to do that thing over and over and over and over again without getting bored or basically falling off the wagon. So I'm thankful for that. That's just something the Lord has given me. And I wonder if you have stick-to-itiveness too. It's sort of indescribable, undefinable personality attribute that simply allows people to put their nose to the grindstone and get things done. I have that. I'm thankful for it. I don't have a whole lot of other gifts, but that's one that I have. Do you have that? And then fourth, here's just another one, season of life. If you're listening to this video and maybe you're in a different season of life, maybe you're raising very small children right now, maybe you're caring for an aged parent, maybe you're working through an academic program, maybe your boss is just like crushing you at work right now with the hours of demands and so forth. This might not be the season for you to do that. And if that's true, that's totally fine. Now, I think that if you wanted this to be a priority, it just goes back to number one, and then we get to start talking about priorities again. But I do understand that certainly for those of you that have small children or other major life concerns, health issues or whatever, this might not be the time for you to try something like this. But nevertheless, if you want to do it, you certainly can. So what are you going to do? I've thrown down the challenge for you. I've laid down the gauntlet. Are you going to respond to it? Are you going to do it? If so, what are you going to try to do? I would love to hear you tell me what you're going to try to do in the comments. If you're going to take up a challenge like this, maybe you don't like the suggestions that I gave you, but do the math and figure out what you can read in a year, and you'll be absolutely stunned what the Lord might do in your life. That's all I have for you today. Thanks for checking in. Love you lots. Talk to you later.